Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video, and with this weekend being the NRL's Magic Round in Brisbane, I thought I would outline in this video I would outline 5 points to watch for in terms of the NRL's Magic Round weekend. So I've got 5 points to 5 dot points here. So let's get pretty much straight into it here. Number one, obviously, of course, not only with Magic Round also doubles as the opening game of the women's State of Origin series. So of course, last year obviously it was the first time that the women's State of Origin was a series. The previous ones was just a single match or over 2 matches. This one was just first of a free. Last year was first of 3 matches. I think this time last year, I believe New South Wales won it, and then Queensland won the next 2, including one one of them, which was game 2, I remember rightly, which was decided by a field goal at the end of the game. So in the last seconds of the game, it wasn't in golden point or something like that. So yeah, and with that in mind, what are the expectations for year 2 of this 3-match series for the women's? There's been a lot of talk. I've heard there's been a lot of talk, a lot of banter that's been thrown around between the 2 teams, as the first game is drawn closer, and it's going to be on tomorrow night as I'm recording this, on a Wednesday night. So I think for me, I'll do an in-depth preview of that game on the channel probably tomorrow, just before the game starts. Probably this video will probably go public. That video will probably go public during the game, but I will do the preview before the game. And I'll try as hard as possible to try and get it out before the game starts. So yeah. On that. Now back on the NRL standpoint. The big talking point this week in terms for the NRL has been sin bins. Has been the big buzzword. Because there were massive amounts of sin bins that were handed out to last week. I think it was 18. It got here 18 sin bins. People were sent to the bin, which out of the 8 games, which is, I would say, on average, if I get it, I'll do some quick maths on the fly here. So 18. 18 divided by 8. That's about 2.2 sin bins per game. Sin bins per game, really. Really out of those 8 games. Or actually, I don't think I've actually, I don't know. I might try and do those again, because I think, just to make sure, I think it's 18 divided by 16, because I think, or 1. So one of those two equations is one says 2.2, the other one says 2.25, the other one says 1.1. So either one of those is correct, but in many ways, it's been the real talking point throughout this week. Or even on the 100% Football show on Monday, which is at Brisbane for Magic Round. I remember Andrew Abdo and Andrew Johns clashing over it. from what I've heard. I haven't watched that, but apparently they clashed over the whole sin bin arrangement. And even Joey's come out and said that they should get rid of the slow-mos for this for the bunker, and try and play those penalties in real time. And then moments later, and Abdo came out and said that that's something to do with the bunker. They're not gonna have complete control over those decisions of those penalties or sin bins. I don't know about that. But that's been the big talking point throughout this week leading up to Magic Round, and that is the amount of sin bins that the players that the refs are putting people in the bin for, or the amount of players that have been put in the bin for 10. So of course so that's been a big talking. It's been a big talking point, and so hopefully it's not something that doesn't rear its ugly head post the weekend. Hopefully, number 3, who will step up and bring the magic in Magic Round? So two things. So when I mean step up, who will? I mean that means for the bottom teams. Looking at here, Brisbane, Melbourne, in terms of winning percentage at Suncorp Stadium, Melbourne's got the best record there, and it's not even close. The next best outside of the Brisbane Broncos is Penrith at 55 with 55% winning percentage, and that's a big margin. And it's going to be a ripping game between them and the Canberra Raiders. Obviously, two teams that are challenging for top 4 at the moment. So that'll be a ripper game late Sunday afternoon. And then in terms of the worst record, of course, is how appropriately the Bulldogs, and they also have the worst Magic Round record out of all 17 teams. Obviously, Manly are not going to be playing this weekend. They've got a bye. So the Bulldogs, obviously, they are yet to win in Magic Round, which is strange considering them that this year they've absolutely killed it and they're on top of the ladder right now. And on the flip side of the Magic Round record scale, there are currently 4 teams that have a 4-1 record in Magic Round. That is South Sydney, Penrith, Canberra, and the Brisbane Broncos. Those 4 teams have a 4-1 record when it comes to it's a little bit lopsided too, because some teams have played 5 Magic Round games. Some people have played 4. In the Dolphins' case, they've only played 2, but they've won both times. It's going to be pretty. And some of the matchups as well. Looking at this here are pretty interesting, really. Or it could be interesting here. You got the Dolphins and the Roosters on late Friday night in the second game on Friday. Second game on Friday night. Where they're both right next to each other on the ladder. The Dolphins are in 12th, the Roosters are in 13th. The Warriors Cowboys game is interesting because they're both vying for positions in the top in the early stages of this season, fighting out for positions in the top 4 at the moment. The Bulldogs game is interesting. Can they break their Magic Round duck against the Gold Coast Titans? We'll get to the Panthers in a moment. And then also, probably the game of the round will probably be the last game of the round between the Storm and the Raiders. That will be a ripping game. I say that, and then basically maybe the Storm end up smashing like 40 points or something, or the Raiders do the opposite way around. I don't know about that, but yeah. So pretty interesting games there. Now, I said about the Panthers, number 4, the Penrith Panthers, of course, can a win against Brisbane, against the Broncos, finally beat the spark that gets them up and going for the season. They got 2 wins. They've currently have 2 wins from 8 games. They're yet to have their bye, obviously. 2 wins from 8 games. They're vying for they've got the strive for 5 in 2025. In my opinion, I'm on the case of you can't count them out until until they're mathematically out of it. You can't out of contention for finals. You can't bet against them, because obviously the way they have been, I know they've lost some of their stars in the last 3 years or so with going to other clubs and that, but you can't discount obviously this side obviously, and they've still got plenty of stars there. I know Scott Sorensen got suspended for 3 games, which is basically equal to 4 weeks because the Panthers have a bye during that suspension. So basically it's 4 weeks but 3 matches. But they've still got Nathan Cleary, they've got Brian To'o still, and all the stars, Liam Martin as well. But they haven't been at the standard that they have been throughout the previous 4 years. For me, I'm sensing Brisbane Lions 2005 vibes from them. In a way, basically, after when I won 02 and 03 in the AFL, 01, 02 and 03, then they made the grand final in 04, but lost it to Port Adelaide in 04. They started off probably the same way as the Penrith's doing right now. They started in this particular fashion. They're mid-season, to the point where I think in around, I'd have to research this, round 17 or round 18, they were in the top 8. They were in the top 8 in round 18, 2005, and then they lost their last 6 games of the year, and they dropped down to about 13th. So you can't count them out, because eventually they'll go on a massive run of form. It's only a matter of when that's going to happen, not if. It's only a matter of when. When they'll turn around their form, and the form of some of their star players that are still there, fire, and it's just surprising, really, that Billy Kickout, who was one of the star players for Penrith when they fell short in the grand final in 2020, he's now a star player at the Bulldogs, and they're now on top of the ladder. So too Stephen Crichton as well. He was one of their star centers, and he's now gone to the Bulldogs. And again, as I said a moment ago, they're on top of the ladder right now. Api Coruscant's the same. Api Coruscant and recently Jerome Luai the same at the Tigers, and they're in finals contention now. So I think the Panthers are learning the hard way what happens when you get. And I think eventually Melbourne will be teams like Melbourne Storm will be the same, where they'll learn the hard way of what happens when you sell your star players off to other clubs. It means that they've got that experience where they know what it's like to being a winning culture that is winning games, winning finals, winning premierships, and then you sell them off to all the other clubs, and it becomes more of an even competition. So I think the Panthers are learning that the hard way, that if you sell your star players off and you don't replace them with youngsters that also become stars, that's when you drop down. So we still need to have so much respect for the fact that they've stayed up for this long, that they've lost so many of their star players and still win the premiership. And I'm not counting them out winning it this year. So, and I know some people call me naive and stupid for saying that, but it's true. You can't count it until they're mathematically out of contention. You can't bet against them. You can't, because otherwise, if you do, they're going to go on a run about 7 or 8. Like Cleary will get back into form. Isaiah Yeo will get back into form. Brian Toto will get back into form. Liam Martin will get back into form. And then some of the youngsters that come in to replace the guys like Luai and so on and so forth get flourish, and then suddenly bang, they're back. They'll be back in contention again. And but it might not happen. Maybe it might never happen. Who knows? But as I said, I'm going to say it one more time. You can't until they're mathematically out of contention. You cannot bet against them. Simple as that. So the question: Could a winning Magic round against the Broncos spark their turnaround? Yes. Yes. If they lose it, well, it's going to be a long way back from there, to be honest. But yeah. So yeah, and it's a big turnaround too. I mean, this time last year they were in third. They were third on the ladder, 5 wins, 2 losses, and now they're in last. I mean, the last time that they were at the end of the week in last was 2007, and they won the Spoon that year. So, and also, a bit of a Melbourne Storm bias here. They actually won the premiership that year, even though it was stripped. So it might be a possibility that the same thing happens and history repeats itself, and they might win the Spoon. But I don't think that'll happen. I think team cohesion is probably a bit down for them at the moment, and I think they'll regain that for sure. And then number 5, this one's completely out of left field. This one, and that is, I think we will see the first official trailer for this new rugby league video game. Now, of course, there've been rumbles for years that the NRL were in the process of in collaboration making a new rugby league game, and then it all died down. It was just a bit of a wave, pretty much. Yes, rumors get high enough, and then they die down a bit. Then they go high back up again. Then they go back down again. But then it wasn't until it was announced that True Blue Entertainment, who were the publisher, who are a publisher and published all the Rugby League Live games, the AFL games previously when they were working with Big Ant Studios or Wicked Witch Software. They were the ones making the game. They were the ones publishing the games. That agreement with the NRL that came to an end. I think it was late last year or early this year, and then since then, the rumors started coming back up again, and it hasn't really died down. It's been really just been on a smooth. It's just getting louder and louder and louder and louder, and then over the last couple of months, it's just exploded. Where it was strange how every time that Ross Simons, who was the CEO of Big Ant Studios, by the way, every time he was asked about rugby league, is there going to be a new rugby league live game? Is there going to be a new rugby league game? They say no. He says no. It says no, and then it comes out that it is Big Ant that's making this rugby league game, and the name and then obviously all these things come out. Of course, the face scans of the players and all that, and then it wasn't until Andrew Abdo went on a podcast before, I think it was on the weekend before the Vegas games, came out and said there's going to be a new rugby league game that's going to come out this year, and I was expecting the new game part because they had all the leaked photos of of the players getting face scanned and players getting scanned for the game, and we didn't. So we know that was going to be that, but what I didn't expect was him saying it's going to come out this year. And I'm like, whoa, holy shit. Like, this is going to happen here. And then after that, it's just the rumor mill about this game has gone through the bloody roof. Gone through the bloody roof, and there hasn't been any trailer for it yet. Trailer for it yet. So yeah, and then there's been contention about the name, and it's been confirmed that by Ross Simons himself that the name of the game will not be Rugby League Live, even though recently Andrew Voss, who is of course the commentator for Fox League, and also has been commentating on rugby league games for God knows how long, for forever really. He mentioned Rugby League Live 5 and said that this game could apparently what Vossi said was, he on this podcast he was on, he said that the budget for this game, for this upcoming game, that Big End's doing this upcoming rugby league game, is bigger. It is basically all the previous, like Rugby League Live 2, 3, and 4 put together, and he even mentioned NA Sports. I went, whoa! I was like, I don't know what Vossi's been smoking, but I want some of it, because I don't think we, and personally I don't like that, because when they say, they compare it, because people are gonna have unrealistic expectations on this game, like really, and I know, and that's compared to AFL 26, which is going to be coming out next week, and I think everyone's sort of tempering down their expectations of rugby on AFL 26. I think with Vossi saying this, I think everyone's going to have sky high expectations with rugby league, with this new rugby league game. But it has been, but then I heard that today that the actual name for the game is going to be Rugby League 26. It's already trademarked. It's already happened, and that was by Nacon, which are also they're also a publisher like True Blue, but they are more a big name publisher, which have acquired many of studios, including gaming studios, including Big Ant Studios. So yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised. We got to come to this now. I wouldn't be surprised if there's I'm not expecting a full trailer, but because with the Women's State of Origin happening, then Magic Round, and then of course in a couple of weeks' time there will be the Men's State of Origin series going to start up. I would hazard guess that the rumors are that this game could come out in July. Now I remember reading something on Wikipedia about it, and it said July, around late July, which I don't think it will I don't think so. I don't think it will happen. But yeah, but I think for me, in a lot of ways, I think this game, from what I've heard, I think the NRL began. It hasn't been confirmed yet how long that these two parties have worked on this game. It has to have been for years because before last year, people, even rugby league YouTubers have emailed the NRL about the possibility of the game, and they've just been given the exact same email at the exact time. Oh, there's something in the works, and we'll reveal it in true time. And then nothing happens. Then they email them again. Then the exact same email happens, and so now, I think for me now the next stage is getting. I think for me, getting a teaser trailer out, like what AFL 26 did. I just hope that the teaser trailer for this new rugby league game involves that insane Xavier Coates try last year. I hope so, because you can't argue that was the best moment of 2024, and why can't you put it as a trailer in a video game, in a rugby league video game? And there's no reason not to be quite honest. And then what features does it have in it? I know Pro Team's going to be featured a lot in it. And then the release date too, which I said July is probably the release date. But I won't be surprised if Big Ant handle the pre-release hype for this game like I did with AFL 26. Well, not in the way basically wait until like a month before it comes out to release details of it, but because I think they will release details of this game this weekend, with of course all clubs being in Brisbane, women's state of origin. A couple weeks at time will be men's state of origin time. It's just it's gonna happen basically. It's just, I think for me, it's just, I've got from what I've heard, I think from what I've heard from rugby league YouTubers that have played these rugby league games for like forever, they don't care if it's bad or it's dog shit. They don't care. So because they haven't had a video game in about, I think it's like 8 years. 2017 was the last time. That was when Rugby League Live 4 came out. And then it came out. And of course, later that year, they released the World Cup edition. And since then, they've not had a new Rugby League game for the last 8 years. While the AFL, between that time, they had AFL Evolution 2 and AFL 23. So there you go, on that front there. But I hope the game's decent. Seeing Rugby 25 with the amount of I won't be surprised if they have the amount of patches that the game has there, to be quite honest. But the rugby league fans, I don't think they'll care so much. They haven't had a game for 8 years, so I think that they'll try and simply get rid of that. But I think for me, I wouldn't be surprised the plan would be have a teaser trailer this week, and then this week, then have a full blown reveal trailer, or maybe the weekend of the first game of men's origin, and then during that time maybe they might have gameplay stuff and that, and then and stuff, and then maybe in that reveal trailer, that full reveal trailer, they might, or maybe for the teaser, they might release when is the game going to come out. But yeah, so it's massive, really, and I think it's not going to entirely. It's going to take over. It's not going to entirely get to be full blown attention. For the pure rugby league fans. They're all going to focus on the matches this weekend. But I think for me, one of the highlights I think would be the announcement of this game, and I wonder if this game could probably get announced. What is the bet that this game might get announced on live TV, on either Channel 9 or on Fox League? What's the bet that could happen? That's Andrew Voss. And since Andrew Voss works for Fox League and he's been commentating on this game, and it's been announced that he is going to be the commentator for this new game. They might maybe announce the first on Fox League, and then filter through to the Nine Network, and then basically they talk about it and the sort of thing. I don't know, but I don't know what the plans are, but we'll find that out over the course of the weekend. So yeah. So those are the 5 things. Those are the 5 points that will be talked about over the course of this amazing NRL. Of course, this weekend, the Magic Round, NRL Magic Round. I'm gonna aim to preview and review all eight matches. I was actually kind of pretty good at in Magic Round last year. I think I reviewed about out of the 9 matches, counting the Women's State of Origin opener. About 8 of those matches. The only one that I didn't review was the last game, which was I think it was the West Tigers and the Dolphins. I didn't review that one, but and I was going to do it, but as a catch up sort of video, but I didn't end up really doing it. But I think but I'm hoping to preview all 8 matches and I might do what I did plan for Gather Round. That's for the previews to have for the previews to have it to be not just for one game, but for all three previews of matches in one game. So in one video, I should say. Sorry. So that's just pretty much it for this video, really. Like this video, share this to anybody who is a Melbourne Storm fan or a Storm fan or a Penrith Panthers fan or a rugby league gaming fan. Comment down below. Are you excited? Are you excited that rugby league that rugby league it's finally gonna get a video game? Are you excited for it? We can officially call it Rugby 26 now because basically Nate Connors basically confirmed it. But are you excited about Rugby League 26 when that comes out? Are you excited about it? Comment down below. And then lastly, somewhere down there, as usual, somewhere, click on the big red button which is labelled subscribe. It really does help me out quite a bit. There's going to be a lot of action here over this weekend, of course, with Magic Round. The opening of the Women's State of Origin. It's going to be a busy couple of weeks as well. I've just come off of Gather Round, Easter weekend, the Anzac weekend, Magic Round this weekend. This weekend, State of Origin's coming soon. The Indigenous rounds for both AFL and NRL coming soon. So it's going to be a lot to come over the channel over the course of the next month or so. So until next time, guys, I'll see you all later.